Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I am your host, Lance Brock, for November 30th, 2022. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. It's time to recap a new episode of AEW Dynamite. Right here at 360 Wrestling Fanatic. And tonight's episode of Dynamite was live from Indianapolis, Indiana. The commentators for tonight, Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Taz. And we start things off with the former AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley. Cuts a quick promo about how he grew up not too far from Indiana and Cincinnati, and at this time we see the return of another former AEW World Champion, Hangman Adam Page. Since that scary concussion we saw him suffer on Dynamite a little while back, and Moxley reminds him of that, and then that turns into a brawl, and then that is broken up by security. And next up on Dynamite, first ever matchup, Dax Harwood from FTR taking on the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. And these two have a really good match here, just as you would expect from these two great wrestlers. Danielson gets the win with a submission, defeating Dax Harwood. Very good match from these two. The AEW TNT Championship is on the line. Samoa Joe taking on the newest member of the AEW roster, AR Fox. It's good to see AR Fox in AEW. Been a fan of him back since Dragon Gate USA, then Evolve, Lucha Underground. Hopefully he will have a good run here in All Elite Wrestling. Samoa Joe defeats AR Fox, though, to retain the TNT Championship. And then Wardlow appears on the screen, and he reminds him that is Wardlow's world. And now we hear from the new AEW World Champion, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And first, though, in the ring we see William Regal, and also in the ring we see, which looks like a championship belt, but it is covered up. And then Maxwell Jacob Friedman makes his way to the ring, insults the live crowd there in Indianapolis, and he says the current AEW World Championship is just like all of them. It is garbage. He throws it out to the floor, and he uncovers the new AEW World Championship, and the strap on it is just like his scarf, and he calls it the BBB, the Big Burberry. Is that what it's called? I might have said that wrong. The Big Burberry belt. I'm guessing that's what the design of the scarf is called. And he talks about his contract being up in 2024. Mentions the con but not Tony. He says it's good old St. Nick, and the game trips. So it'll definitely be interesting to see if he does hold on to the championship until then, which will be a very long reign if he does. And then looks like he's gonna go to the back, but then he attacks William Regal, hitting him with the brass knucks from behind. And then immediately the medical staff gets in there to check on him, and MJF leaves. And then we see Bryan Danielson make his way to the ring and did a good job of selling the seriousness of this, talking about William Regal's history with neck problems and brain bleed, just like Danielson mentioned with Moxley last week. And so MJF, now on his own, turning on William Regal after William Regal turned on Jon Moxley to help him. And next up, we have women's action. Willow Nightingale defeating Anna Jay. Continue to be impressed by Willow Nightingale. She's been looking very good lately. And then after this match, we see the return of Ruby Soho, returning after the broken nose that she suffered a little while back. It was at All Out, I believe. And going after Anna Jay, so they might have a little feud now. And Absolute Ricky Starks makes quick work of Arya Daivari. Ricky Starks is now the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. He will face off with MJF 2 weeks from tonight at Winter is Coming, on the special episode of AEW Dynamite. And in the main event of tonight's Dynamite, it is the match 3 of the best of 7 series for the AEW Trios Championships. And the Elite pick up their first win to make the series 2-1. Death Triangle still in the lead, but they are not going to do the sweep. Just as Kenny Omega said, since he is the cleaner and the Elite closed the show on top. That was tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. Very good episode, I thought. Had some good matches on this show. The brawl with Moxley and Hangman, and MJF unveiling his new AEW World Championship and attacking William Regal. Will definitely be interesting to see what happens next there. AR Fox, impressive. And Willow Nightingale, like I said, we saw the return of Ruby Soho. And the Elite defeating the Death Triangle to get their first win in the best of 7 series. And next week, though, it is on Dynamite, is the return of the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. And as everybody knows, there has only been one AEW superstar who has ever won the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and that is the current AEW World Champion, MJF. Who's gonna win it this year? Who knows? Remember, the winner of the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal will receive a shot at the World Championship at any time of their choosing. But first, as I just mentioned, little bit ago, though, MJF and Ricky Starks will face off for the AEW World Championship at Winter is Coming 2 weeks from tonight. And that is all for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Thank you for tuning in. And as I mentioned, this week started bell ringing. Did it Monday and Tuesday. We'll do it again next week. Hopefully we'll get a lot of money in the kettle. And if you see a bell ringer wherever you are, if you have some extra change, put it in the kettle. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, 360 Wrestling Podcasts at gmail.com is the email. And until the next episode, I am Lance. I am a wrestling fanatic.